can start.
Okay, so Aparna, let's proceed ahead with your mock for the position of financial officer in Power Grid Corporation. Me and Saglani sir will proceed ahead with that. So we want very brief introduction from your side.
Okay, sir. Good afternoon, sir. I am Aparna Thakur and I belong from Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh. I cleared my chartered accountancy exams in January 2020. Thereafter, post qualification, in March 2020, a credit manager in business loan group. My base location was Pune, and my work profile entailed credit underwriting, monitoring of transactions, transaction-based renewals, and preparation of sanction note and MIS. My basic core skills are ability to learn quickly, leadership, active listening, and interpersonal skills.
So you are still in job, Aparna?
No, sir, I left my job in December 20 only.
Okay, so from March to December you did?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what was the reason of leaving the job?
Yeah, I'm telling you with that. The reason for leaving was that I believe that I had gained enough exposure in banking industry during my employment, and I also had the exposure of bank audits during my articleship experience. And I wanted to switch to another sector where I can work in my core domain areas like finance, accounting, taxation, and many more. So that's why I decided to quit ICICI Bank.
So did you join something else from December 21 onward?
No, sir. I wanted to go for PSU jobs. So I was preparing for that only.
So any specific reason why you are interested in PSU jobs?
Sir, because PSU jobs will definitely offer me to work in my core domain areas, and it will also align with my long-term career goals like work-life balance and job stability. So they are the major factors that I am looking forward to join PSUs.
Aparna, what do you understand by work-life balance?
Sir, as per my understanding, work-life balance, it means that we get enough time for our professional life as well as our work life. So there can be fixed timings for our work also, and after work we can pursue our other personal hobbies or give time to our family. That's what I understand.
So did you face work-life balance problems in your previous job?
Sir, during the COVID times, we used to work from home scenario. So there was enough pressure on the banking sector. Like there were a huge load of loan profiles. We had to sanction huge amount of loans, and I faced little trouble, and I was unable to manage with my studies also that I was pursuing for PSUs. We were used to like work for daily for extended hours. So there I felt that it should have been balanced, so we can look after for other things also.
You must be knowing, government policies related to public sector is like government can privatize some public sectors or some part of public sector. So are you ready? Today you join Power Grid with thinking it is a public sector and it will remain public sector, but tomorrow it may, change transform into private sector. And we have many examples like BPCL and
Yes, sir. Air
India and all. So,
Yeah.
so what is your take on that? I mean, how can you?
Sir,
Yeah.
What I understood your question is you are asking me my take on privatization.
No, I'm not asking that. I'm asking about your decision to join today public sector, which may tomorrow become private.
Okay. Sir, what I think about this is it may happen. It may happen with any organization because it is finally the decision of the government. If they feel they have to do strategic disinvestment, and it would be in the interest of the public only, that if they feel if a company is not performing well and it has to be in competition, then they may privatize, and I will be okay with that because it will only give us the chance, the employees, to work further and to take our organization to new heights. So I will be open to that opportunity, sir.
Aparna, how do you rate yourself as employee? You have worked in the previous organization, so how do you rate yourself?
Sir, I would rate myself as a good employee on the basis of the opinion that I have got from my seniors. So they told me that I had worked really well during
What
those
did
periods.
they talk about you as employee in your when they appreciated your
So one
performance?
of my seniors told me that in work from home scenario, I really caught up on things because they were not able to give us the in-person guidance. All the trainings were done through con call only, through Zoom
Mm,
meetings and other medium. But
mm,
and it was really difficult for them to train the new employees because as I joined and immediately the pandemic hit and the lockdowns were induced. So
mm.
it was really difficult for them to train. But I gradually caught up and learned all the systems and processes on my own. So she really appreciated that I had managed that in less time.
So whenever some performance appraisal is done, you get appreciation also, and you're also criticized, or a scope of improvement is also suggested to you by your
Yes, sir.
seniors. I'm interested to know which domain your seniors suggested any scope of improvement in you or your performance.
Sir, what I remember, we were not rated during that period because
Okay.
I think it is done annually. So during 9 months, I did not get as such uh,
Any
suggestion, but
appraisal for
my
that? Hmm.
yeah, but my immediate senior, he used to, the person to whom I reported, my boss, he really appreciated and motivated me to boost up my speed and to get further, like to be in time or to complete the turnaround time.
You could have continued with your previous job till you get into public sector, Aparna.
No, sir, I thought that I had gained enough exposure and I have given enough time. So that's why I decided. And the decision was made, but I was unable to manage my studies with the job. So that's why I decided to leave and uh, work for PSUs or study for PSUs.
So are you sure that the profile which you are looking for, in the next organization you will get in Power Grid?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, over to you, Virendra sir.
Okay, so Aparna, so how would you like to contribute at PGCIL?
Sir, I believe my experience that I have gained during my uh, as employee in a bank and as an auditor during my articleship, I have learned about the intricacies in the banking sector, and we have already assisted. We have done audits, and I don't know, and we know what could go wrong. So I would help in the at PGCIL. I can help with the audit compliances and procurement of funds. Budgeting could also be there, and moreover, I am a chartered accountant. I have sufficient knowledge and experience that would help me in other areas also.
Have you heard the term called as transfer pricing?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
Sir, transfer pricing is used when a company transfers any commodity or a product within their internal departments. It is for internal transfers basically. So it is a mechanism how to calculate the price and to charge it on the other departments.
Mhm. No, that is okay. That is the you're explaining the part. What is the issue with the transfer pricing?
Sir, I'm currently not able to recall that. I will look upon it.
Okay, since you are CA, right? So you must have dealt with the balance sheets also, right?
Yes, sir.
What are the major heads of balance sheet?
Sir, in the asset side, the major heads are non-current assets, current assets. In the liability side, it's equity, money application, share application, money pending allotment, non-current liabilities, and current liabilities.
Okay, let's say it's a debenture.
Yes, sir.
What is it? Asset or liability?
Sir, debenture is a liability
Why?
because a debenture is a mode of procurement of funds which a company issues and receives funds from the public or any provider, and they have to return it, pay it back to the owners. So it is a charge for us and we have to pay it back. So that's why it is a liability, and mostly it is for a period of more than 1 year. So it can be categorized as non-current liability.
And what about provisions? Let's say it's a gratuity, right?
Yes, sir.
So gratuity falls under which category?
Sir, gratuity is a defined benefit obligation, and gratuity term is gratuity fund is accumulated over the An employee is entitled for gratuity when he has been in continuous employment for more than 5 years. So when he leaves the job, he is entitled to the gratuity amount. And if the gratuity is payable, say within next 12 months from the reporting period, it would be classified under short-term provision. And if it is for more than 1 year, then it would be classified under long-term provision.
Okay, let us say I have a balance sheet, right? What conclusions can I draw about that organization if I just go through that balance sheet?
So from just looking at the balance sheet.
Yes, I'm just going through the balance sheet and I want to draw some conclusion about I want to get the overall idea of that organization, right?
Okay.
Like how that organization is performing and all that.
Okay. So we
can I
can.
get some idea from that balance sheet?
So just looking at the figures, we can. We will have to use other techniques also, like financial statement analysis we can do. For example, ratio analysis. From ratio analysis, we can look into capital structure, for example, debt equity ratio, where we can get the mix, like how much capital is financed through debt. So if the equity, the ideal ratio considered for debt equity is 2:1. So we can see if the debt is more than 2 times, it means that the company is heavily dependent on outside funds, and it could impact on its future ability also of repaying back the loan.
So what is the debt equity ratio of ICICI?
Sir, of ICICI Bank, I'm not aware, but I have not looked into their financials. But
what about
what? Sir, it was 1.67. 63:37, sir, ratio for the financial year ended 31st March 2022.
63.
For PGCIL.
What are you saying? 63?
63:37.
Okay, so you also talked about ratio analysis, right? To get more clear idea about the organization, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what kind of ratio do I have to use then?
So we can also look into ratios like for repayment capability we have to see. Then we can look into DSCR, debt service coverage ratio. It's also a good indicator whether a company has enough funds to enough profit available, what we can say more precisely, to pay back to its loan givers.
So have you heard about the inventory turnover ratio?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
Sir, inventory turnover ratio is an activity ratio, and it indicates the relationship between the cost of goods sold and the average stock. So higher the, it basically indicates whether a company is able to turn its stock into sales. So if a company has a high inventory ratio, then it is a good indicator that it is realizing cash as frequently as possible.
And what about current ratio?
Sir, current ratio is a short-term liquidity ratio. It basically indicates the position of a company, whether it is able to repay back its current liabilities to current assets. The ideal ratio considered for current ratio is 2:1.
But and what about quick ratio?
Yes, sir. In quick ratio, we consider quick assets, which comprises of current assets less inventory and prepaid expenses. So the quick assets are divided by the current liabilities. It is mostly considered favorable as 1:1. Both should be equal.
So what conclusion? Like, let's say if some company is having a low current ratio, like this current ratio, let's say it is 1:1. Okay.
Okay.
And quick ratio is also 0.5:1.
Okay.
So what should I do? So will you join this organization?
Okay. You have given me the figures of an organization whose
And
ratio is
organization where you're having current ratio 1:1, and the quick ratio is 0.25:1.
Okay. Sir, first talking about the ratios. If the current ratio is 1:1, it definitely indicates that the current assets are equal to the current liabilities. So the working capital gap is 0. Company has that only amount of current assets to finance its liabilities. And it would be really difficult for them to finance, to pay back its liabilities, we can say, with current ratio. And for quick ratio, if the it is 0.25:1. So it shows that the current assets, excluding inventory and prepaid expenses, it is less than the current liabilities. So company is not in a favorable situation to pay back its current liabilities. What the conclusion we can derive from current ratio and quick ratio.
So will you join such organization?
So for this, I will say that we should compare these ratios with a comparable company working in the same industry, because they may vary as per the industry and the environment in which they work. So if the industry standard is applicable, is near around these figures that you have given, then I would say it is working in a good range.
No,
Like
that
in
means it is okay for you. Even other industries are also facing same kind of trouble. Let's say with the quick ratio, they are going 0.25:1. Let's say. So we'll go ahead with that.
If current ratio is like I'm saying if they are in the same industry and the companies are having ratios in the same range, and the work they are doing is like of the nature that they don't hold much current assets, then it is favorable to have this ratio.
Okay. Okay. Let's say since you have worked in a bank, right, with a bank also, so you may have heard a term called as distress asset, right?
Assets. Yes, sir.
So when we will call an asset as a distress?
Sir, we can call an asset as distress when there are early signals of the asset facing problems. Like we can have it in the form, like it is a term also used for special mention accounts. Like it is an indicator if a account is performing above average or not. Like SMA 0 indicates the overdue amount less than 30 days, and it gives early warning signals when the overdue amount is more than 30 days and it is up to like 90 days. When the overdue gets 90 days, then it will fall under NPA category. So we have to like distressed account would be considered when the overdue is nearing to 90 days situation, or when we can see there are
Should we
significant
refer it to
deficiencies.
NCLT then?
Yeah, sir.
Should we refer it to NCLT then?
No, sir, we should not directly refer it to NCLT. We should contact with the management and the borrower and inquire whether they are having any issues, whether they are facing any issues regarding the payment. Like it may also happen because, as we have seen, business were hampered in the COVID scenario. So most of the parties were given the option, and the emergency credit line scheme were also provided to them, and they were given a moratorium period also for repayment of their interest. So it may be happening due to the outside factors also, like COVID
So
pandemic.
let's say if we have to decide about the insolvency proceedings against a company, right?
Okay.
So when we should start?
Sir, insolvency proceedings can be initiated by the creditor of a company. If the creditor is of the opinion that the borrower or the company is unable to pay its debts, then it moves to NCLT and files an application for the insolvency of the company.
Okay. So, okay, Aparna, so one final question from my side. Okay, let's say there are other candidates also who are as qualified as you are. So, if you think of hiring you, right?
Yes, sir.
Why should we hire you?
Sir, I believe we all have equal competencies because we have cleared the written exam of PGCIL. But I also believe that my hardworking nature and my keenness to learn will definitely prove an asset to the organization, and I will work, and my hardworking nature will definitely give results.
Okay. Okay. So, can you let me know your key strengths?
So my key strengths are ability to learn quickly, leadership, active listening, and interpersonal skills.
So, where did you display your leadership skills last time?
Sir, during my articleship, I acted as a team leader during concurrent audit of a bank, where I headed a team and I basically provided instructions and trainings to my teammates about the project, and we successfully completed the project of revenue leakage, and we completed the proposal, and it was a major finding.
So what do you think should be the qualities of a good leader?
So qualities of a good leader should be he should be able to guide. He should lead in difficult situations. He should be the person who motivates everyone, and it synergizes the efforts of all the teammates towards the achievement of the goal.
Okay. Okay, Avarna, I think now we can give you the feedback, right?
Okay, sir.
So see, speed is little. I think you're explaining very fast. So I think if you can just
Slow down.
Slow down yourself, I think that will be better, right? You're
Yes,
too
sir.
fast. That's what
Right.
it seems. Okay, basic part. Obviously, see, they are going to focus on the area, where you already have the exposure. So you are mentioning about your articleship and the other one area where you have worked with ICICI, right?
Yes, sir.
I think these are the two areas where he's going to focus. These were the basic questions I think I asked you. So I think they were more of like you're having the idea. I think you explained them well. But I think just get the idea of why the transfer pricing. What is it? What is it that you have explained? But why they were the issues? Because companies try to manipulate the profits by making this use of this tool called as transfer pricing, right?
Yes, sir.
So and also I think the rest other part seems to be okay. Okay, basic because I asked the basic questions. And also one more thing that why should we hire you? You didn't focus on your key strengths. You should focus on your key strengths. For example, let's say if you have learned something with ICICI or in articleship, so those you should pick some key that means key areas where you are strong. You should highlight those areas that these are areas you think that okay, you can apply that knowledge over there also, or those skills over there also. So you simply mention, okay, I'm a hardworking, keenness to learn, and so everyone is going to mention the same thing. So why don't you utilize your what you have learned, which you can contribute?
I actually drafted answer for this, and I had written I have gained knowledge during my working experience, and it would be helpful for me in here in finding of compliances, preparation of financial statements, and everything I have mentioned. But I answered something else.
If we remember why you don't have to cram it, you simply just keep it in mind. Then they will say that okay, why they want to hire you. So you should have in mind something that you have to tell, which is going to be benefit them. It should be of their use. So what is of their use? This is something that should be your strength, right?
Okay, sir.
So mention those things. And leadership, I think I don't know. You are mentioning leadership, or whether you will be able to justify or not, because leadership you are using it in a very general way. Okay, your leadership qualities and all that. So it is not very easy to find the leadership qualities, right?
Okay, sir, what do you suggest for that?
No, if you want to skip, then I think you will skip. Otherwise, they will ask you to prove. Let's say if I ask you to prove, so you cannot say that in articleship I just led a team of 3 people and then I guided them, motivated them. So everyone will say, right? It's not that way, right? So okay, so just think over it, then see. Right?
So one thing else I want to ask, I really got confused in the question that you asked for the current ratio and the quick ratio, and will I join any company that has these parameters?
0.25 quick ratio is too low. That means you don't have even the liquid cash to pay your even employees. 0.25, there is a meaning of it. So how you can say that okay, comparable? Comparable is okay. It is compared with the same industry.
With the industry, right?
But if that ratio is too low, you don't have even the cash to pay your employees or regular those expenses.
It is in financial crisis, basically.
It's a crisis. Obviously, you can say it's too low, right?
Okay.
Okay, so over to Dr. Vijendra now.
Okay, Aparna, so whatever you tell about your strengths, they are going to ask you to prove that. So if you say you are honest, they will say, how do we believe it? If you say I'm hard worker, prove us you are hard worker. Similarly, right? So if you say I have leadership skills, what do you mean by that? And how do you prove that? How did you realize that? They are going to ask you that. As far as my point is only one point, why you left your previous job before you got the next one, that was not very clear. I mean, why you left your job of banking and then you thought of getting into public sector. And nowadays true answers public sector do not appreciate much. And one, if you're joining these public sectors for work-life balance and for stability, they don't appreciate that. Because nowadays there's a huge pressure on the top management of public sectors to become as efficient as private sector is.
Yeah,
In the
that's
process,
why.
they want their employees to behave as private people,
Yeah,
and that even will be helpful once this public sector become private.
yeah, that's why they are NCAR submitted a report that all banks should be privatized except SBI. So,
Yeah,
sir,
so
how should I justify for this? Like,
no, you should
I was.
justify. There are a couple of reasons. Number one, I told you, is like I believe that I'll get the profile which is of interest to me, but you should be clear that you are going to get that profile in Power Grid. Second, sir,
Mhm.
it's a great company. It's a Maharatna company and prestigious job in which I would like I'll be contributing. And it is working in the energy domain and energy sector, and energy is very important for the development of the nation. So when I'll be working as employee in Power Grid, it will give me a special kind of satisfaction that I'm working for something which is further working in the development of nation.
Sir, I actually drafted this line and I had written it like that. The power grid company is already working in transmission sector, and it is evolving, and it is going to enter into new ventures like energy audit, smart grids, EV charging infrastructure, battery energy storage systems that are in line with government's policy. So it will further provide impetus to the growth of the organization, and it will definitely add to my professional knowledge and experience. So it would be an
But
honor and prestige.
how as financial officer, that also you need to see, right? So focus more on that.
Okay. Okay, sir.
So I want this answer not from technocrat, I want this answer from financial officer. When legal officer joins, when financial officer joins, when technical person join the organization, the answer has to be different. Technical
Okay.
fellow may get impressed with the new technologies they are acquiring, and renewable energy domain they are entering into, and all vehicle charging or something. You, on the other hand, energy audit maybe that is more catchy for you, so you need to delve deep into those things.
Something that is that has a financial point of view.
Yes,
I
obviously,
need to, yeah.
because you have nothing to do with the technical breakthroughs, right?
Okay.
That is not going to give you job satisfaction. So you are going to get job satisfaction through some another means, maybe the learning opportunities you get, or the satisfaction that the organization in which you are working is further working for something betterment. Why people join NGOs? For the cause they are into, so that gives them satisfaction. They get very less salary or no salary, they get no
Okay.
expertise also, but the work they are doing, that work is so noble that they get that kind of satisfaction. So whether you get satisfaction by being the employee of Power Grid, because Power Grid is into something which is further leading to the development of the nation, so something like that.
Mm.
And then
Okay.
learning, so what learning, in what form you are going to learn. So that is the point, right? There you need to justify, so why you left it, why you want Power Grid. That is something which is very, very crucial question.
Okay.
Practice it more, right?
Yes, sir.